You're listening to The Blind Chick, an Aftersight original podcast. We're telling you stories about strength, overcoming hurdles, and living experiences. We see who you really are. Blindness can be an adventure. Are you ready for the journey of a lifetime? We are.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Blind Chick. That's Moses Street.
And that's Penn Street, the blind chick. And
Dun, dun,
I'm
dun.
lucky enough to be her roadie over the last 3 months of traveling. And
Yes.
which brings me, the neatest, coolest trip is we went to Helen Keller's birthplace. I don't know, within the last couple of weeks.
Tuscundia,
Alabama. And the big takeaway, it is amazing. Everybody needs to go there. It's beautiful. It's fascinating. It's an amazingly well preserved. But my big takeaway, and I don't know what evening, so you'd want to check that. They do the play, The Miracle Worker, and it is better than the movie. For everybody who has seen the movie with Patty Duke, and but my big takeaway from that was that over 100 years ago, Anne Sullivan, who discovered and brought Helen Keller to life, she herself was put in a mental institution for losing her sight. And because she was this genius, brilliant person, it was not a good fit. And somebody stepped up and helped her.
Yeah.
She, in turn, showed the world, her and Helen Keller showed the world that just because you've lost your sight does not make you ignorant,
Right.
untrainable, everything.
Right.
And my big takeaway, because of living with Penn, who of course is blind for 38 years now, was that, holy cow, nothing has changed in 100 years. People still
Yeah.
are consigning people with loss of sight to their house. And to show you how crazy it is to all the sightlings out there like me is, okay, say we're in this crazy dystopian society, and bear with me because this is the introduction to an amazing guest we've got coming up. So in this dystopian society, you get a call and they go, you have to write all the music for Bob Dylan's next concert, and we need it now. Now, the problem is you've never written a word of music, a rhyme, or anything in your life. But if you don't do it, you will be on house arrest for the rest of your life. That's insane, okay? But everybody who loses their sight has to come up with those lyrics and music as fast as they can to get their life back. And one of the people who is helping this journey, because there is a renaissance going on among the disability crowd. And so we are so lucky to have Neva Fairchild as our guest today, because she has come up with an amazing tool. And I'll let, and so here is Neva Fairchild. Hi.
Hey, Neva, welcome to The Blind Chick.
Thank you, Penn. Hello, Moses. It's
Hello.
nice to be here.
And you knew because we hung out in Lawrence, Kansas, that I talk a lot.
I do want to preface that I disagree with Moses a little bit in some areas, but some areas not. I do think things have changed in the past 100 years, but it's still shocking to me the things that haven't, or that some places they have and some places they haven't.
Yeah.
We've been traveling a lot, and shocking to me, especially in the United States of America, how behind we are
Yeah.
on some of the technology and accessibility things that other countries just way beyond my dreams have
like
fulfilled.
in Scotland, Penn was
Yeah.
treated like a celebrity because of her white cane.
Well, but just accessibility about getting around. All of their street lights are not only audible, but they're also tactile. So regardless if you're blind or deaf, you're able to cross the street independently. And the way they use paving stones, all kinds of things are better there. But
for
I
that
know
one wheelchair bathroom that you had to go up 2 steps to get
that's
to
another
a
story.
perfect. Yeah.
Great bathroom once you got to it,
Yeah,
but getting
it
up
was.
those 2 steps was a bit of a pill. But
We're going to remodel our bathroom to match it.
but Neva, it was wonderful meeting you in person. Neva and I sit on a accessible task force for the IAAIS community here in the United States, and so I got to know Neva through those virtual meetings, and then we got to meet in person at the actual conference, and got to sit on a panel together to talk about accessibility. And so I don't know a ton about your background, Neva. I kind of want to start kind of from the beginning, if you don't mind. Could you kind of share your early life and what is your vision diagnosis? Because everybody always asks that.
Sure. I was raised in a military family. My dad served in the Air Force. And when I was born, we were in Texas, but very soon we were transferred to Presque Isle, Maine. And while I was in preschool there, the teacher brought to my parents' attention the fact that I wouldn't stay on my carpet square.
Oh,
I would jump up and run to see the book that the teacher was holding up while she was reading it. She would then turn it around and show it to all the kids in the semicircle, and I couldn't see it. So I'd go up and stick my face on it to see the pictures. They started at probably age 3 for me, taking me to every specialist on the side of the country we were living on at the time. And they really didn't understand. They thought probably it was retinopathy of prematurity, but most kids who have ROP, or retrolental fibroplasia, if you want the old term for it, are totally blind. And it's because the retina detaches due to neovascularization of the retina, because when a baby's born premature, their eyes don't have the blood flow that they need.
Right.
And our body has this amazing ability when you don't have enough blood flow to create new vessels. Unfortunately, they leak, and that causes detached retinas.
Yeah.
And I didn't have detached retinas. I had pigmentation, and they called it like specks of pepper all across my retina.
Wow.
Wow.
So, 100,000, doctors later, I'm exaggerating just. But, they said, your vision's pretty bad, but it's not going to change. And my vision was bad. It was probably about 2,800, 2,600. Okay.
Yeah.
That's really, really past the big E. That's
Yes.
a special chart.
Yeah. You had to give up your motorcycle.
No, I never drove. I really stopped reading print in 4th grade. Unfortunately, I was born way before IDEA. And I was not taught Braille as a child. Now, the school districts did not derelict their duty. They wanted me to go to the school for the blind in every state we moved to, but my parents said, no, absolutely not.
Okay.
And I was always very grateful for that until I realized the blindness skills I never learned.
Yes, exactly.
But I had a wonderful, well-rounded education. My parents said, go figure it out. You can do it. Just do it. And so I did it. And I was a mediocre student, but I got to march in the band, and I got to take art classes. And I'm not sure if I'd been at a school for the blind in the 1960s and early 1970s, would I have found art classes and marching bands? I don't think so. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful for that. When I got into my 30s and my vision had started deteriorating, and I got retested, and they found out that I had a form of retinitis pigmentosa called cone rod degeneration, which is the exact opposite of regular RP. You lose your vision from the center out. I realized that I needed blindness skills in a big hurry. And so I learned to use a long white cane. I eventually learned to read Braille, although I'm a very slow Braille reader.
Yeah.
I love the code, and I love the fact that I can take notes and jot down things and access information with my fingers when I can't do it with my eyes anymore. And so eventually I had genetic testing, and now they know that I have Stargardt disease. So whether that was the problem from the beginning or whether it was a combination of both conditions, who knows? Who cares? It is what it is. And I am totally blind now. I don't have any trustworthy light perception. You see a window. If you have real light perception, it's a window. There's a light spot over there. That's the window. Yeah, I see light spots when they're not there. I'll walk in a room and it's all bright, and I'm like, who left the lights on? I go looking at all the light switches. They're all off. I check all the lamps. The bulbs are cool. There's no light. It's just my brain making up stuff.
Oh.
Do you, because of what you're saying, do you have a imaginary visual world?
I really don't. I do still see in my dreams.
Wow.
But I don't see in real life. I can imagine when I've gotten to touch something, I can kind of draw a picture in my mind, but it's in my mind's eye, not in my eyeball.
Right. Wow.
Right. Did Neva, because you didn't go to the school for the blind growing up, did you have any misconceptions about I hate to say overcome your blindness, because it's really just learning to live in a world with your blindness. But did you have any misconceptions either on your own or even other people?
I absolutely did have misconceptions because I did not know what was possible. If somebody had told me it's possible for you to read with your fingertips, even though you still have some functional vision, but not enough to read print, Braille would be helpful to you, I would have jumped at the chance.
Yeah.
I never used a long white cane till I was 30, and I was returning to college to finish a bachelor's degree that I didn't finish because I got my MRS before I got my BS.
Okay.
And I was going to a new school. I didn't know anybody there. My husband was working full time. And I asked a vision rehabilitation teacher, how am I going to get around this new campus? How am I going to find my classes? What if there are steps and curbs? I'm going to end up flat on my face, because until I was 30, I never went anywhere alone for the first time.
Wow.
I didn't know it was possible.
Wow.
And
right, because that's all you know. You don't know what you don't know.
Exactly. And I had never seen another person with a long white cane. I don't know if my parents didn't allow me to be in those environments. I don't know if they passed by and I never knew it. You know what I'm saying? She said, why don't you learn to use a long white cane? And I said, what's that?
Wow.
And I was 30 years old with extremely low vision all my life.
Wow.
And it's like, really? No, nobody thought to tell me this till I was 30? Okay. And I saw the movie Atta Girl Kelly. Okay. I thought, oh man, that would be wonderful to have a seeing eye dog.
Yeah.
But that's for people who are totally blind. That's not for me. Well, of course it was for me. And I did finally get my first seeing eye dog when I was 49 years old.
Yeah.
I had 2 dogs in my life. They were both wonderful. And now I don't have the physical stamina to do that because I'm getting old.
Yeah. Same here. Wow. Did you, going through it, aside from having to discover all the things that were out there, did you have emotional, social things going on with the career change and that type of thing?
Well, sure. I had social, emotional things going on from probably elementary school on because I was that weird kid that held her face right up against stuff to try to see it, So I was kind of ostracized. I was bullied and treated mean by mean girls, but I got to college and I don't know what happened, but I was accepted by anybody and everybody in college, unlike in my 12 years of public education.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because, the more intelligent people go to college and the less intelligent people don't. I don't know. Who cares? But I felt great about myself, and I ran around with a crowd of kids that were just fabulous. My roommate, my sophomore year, she was my best friend halfway through my freshman year, and we roomed together for the next 2 years. I was in a wheelchair, used a wheelchair for mobility because of polio as a baby. And we were a great team. She could see and I could push.
Eric Weinemeyer, the famous mountain climber who's 100% blind, that's his go-to. He always helps with the wheelchairs on the hikes we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good team.
It was kind of, and then, as I got older, I got to a point in my life where, you think I'm weird? Fine. I don't really care what you think. I'll go find somebody else that doesn't think I'm weird and I'll hang out with them.
So what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be an elementary school teacher, but I wanted to be a special education teacher to work with kids who are blind, to help them realize that they could make it in public school and that they could have a well-rounded, full education.
Me too.
Because I had the same attitude about schools for the blind that my parents had. I've changed that attitude because I've learned a lot about schools for the blind, and quite frankly would have loved to have gone to one, even in the late 50s and early 60s and 70s. It would have been great. Okay. But at the time, that's what I wanted to do. But I wanted to go to Texas A&M, and they didn't offer special education as a bachelor's degree. I had to have a master's. So I was working on my elementary education and preschool education degree, educational curriculum instruction. And then when I got married, I took 9 years off. And when I went back to college as an adult, once my daughter went to kindergarten, I changed to rehabilitation science. And then I got my master's degree in rehabilitation counseling psychology. So that's where my career came from. I worked in the field of vision rehabilitation full-time for 32 years. And I'm still in that field working part-time and volunteering a great deal.
Okay.
Wow. So, so that jumps in. You've come up with an amazing app, if I'm saying it right. And Penn and I did a little research, but we want to hear a lot more about your app.
Well, I don't think it's your app. I think you work with WayAround.
I do.
It's one of your tools. I
did not create the app, but I've worked with the co-founders since they had an inkling of an idea. I was working for American Foundation for the Blind at the Center on Vision Loss here in Dallas, and both of the co-founders live here in the Dallas area. So they came to me and said, "We have this idea. Will you tell us if we're crazy?" And I told them, "This is rock and roll. This is not crazy. This is wonderful, and it will be so useful to people who are blind, have low vision, or are deafblind, because it works with your smartphone."
Right.
And you can use whatever accessibility you use to access your smartphone, whether that's speech with voiceover or talkback, or screen enlargement like Zoom.
Right.
It's actually Zoom in both platforms, which is confusing, I just have to say.
I know.
And then also if you're using a refreshable Braille display because you're deafblind or because you don't like listening to your phone jabber, the information on the WayAround app comes up on your refreshable Braille display as well.
So I know you play a large role in accessibility and advocacy, and oh my gosh, when I went through I've been through the DVR program, Division of Vocational Rehabilitation program, 3 or 4 times in my life, just because technology changes. My career has changed over the years, and I need to go back and get, refresh my skills. And I remember decades ago, somebody visited the center where I was training, and it was a similar thing, where they had these tags, but you had to carry this like
Yes.
giant scanner. I was like, okay, this is definitely not for me. But
the original ID mate was the size.
Exactly. That's what I think it was. Yeah. And I thought even way back then,
suitcase.
Yeah, I mean, even way back then, I was like, oh my gosh, they're on to something. But I felt like it kind of fell away. I don't know what ever happened with it. So that's why I'm excited about something that is way more compact, and it actually uses something that I use anyway, which is my phone. Can you share a little bit about WayAround, and for the people out there who were like me, maybe had tried an earlier version of something similar and was like, no.
I understand. I was a PenFriend user.
Nice name,
don't you think? PenFriend?
Yeah.
And I loved it. These little stick-on tags, and you recorded an audio version of what the label was, what you wanted that tag to say. You could recite the Gettysburg Address if you wanted to, or you could just say cinnamon. Okay. Yes. and you'd put the pen against the tag, and it would say whatever you recorded.
Yes.
Wonderful. Except I could never find the doggone pen when I needed to read a tag. Because I wasn't a good organized person and always put it back in the same place. I would keep it wherever I was in that. And so then when I finally discovered it, I'm going to keep this right here so I can always find it. Yeah, that didn't work for me. So WayAround uses the NFC reader that is built into iPhones since the iPhone 7, and Android, and a Blind Shell 2 and Blind Shell 3 since they were invented. Okay?
Yeah.
And the NFC means near field communication. That means you have to be near the tag for your phone to read it. It's what you use for Apple Pay when you're in the store.
Right.
Okay? And we sell tags that are stickers, one that's round that goes on anything but metal, one that's square that goes on anything and metal. We sell buttons that are 2-hole buttons that you can sew on like a button on a shirt. You sew it. I put them on the hem, on the side seam of my shirts, my slacks, my skirts, my jackets, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then a large oval hole button that you could use as safety pin, or a rubber band, or a twisty tie, or a pipe cleaner to attach it to anything.
Right.
Okay? And those two are waterproof, clothes dryer proof, and dry cleaner proof. They'll even go out in your garden. You can twisty tie it around a garden stake, and through rain and wind and snow and all of that button is going to still be readable. There's a magnet that goes on top of anything like a can or metal, like on a spice can. And then there are Way clips that are kind of overgrown plastic paper clips that also have the tags embedded in them. There's 2 because the square top goes on anything metal, and it can be read on anything metal, and the round top can't go on metal. But you can also use it for easy tactile discrimination. Like I use 2 Way clips on my bread. My husband likes good old plain white bread. I like sticks and twigs, whole grain, earthy bread.
Yes.
And
yes.
so I have different shape tags closing, because it's that plastic paper clip. It closes the bread bag.
Right.
And I can tell by touching, okay, the square is mine, the round is his. And the other thing is that I can still record all the nutritional information. Now, how many carbs is one slice? I can't remember. Is it, 30 carbs for 2 or 30 carbs for 1? So I can have that information right there. And I just copy and paste it from their website onto the app in the tag, and you create the tag with your phone, and you read the tags with your phone. And it's all text-based rather than audio recordings. You either have to type it in, copy and paste it in, or dictate it into text fields. And then you can put as much or as little information as you want, which I really like, because sometimes I only want to know it's my red polo shirt. And sometimes I want to know that this pink shirt goes with that skirt and those pants, but not those pants.
So how close does the phone have to be to the tag? Like
about an inch.
An inch. Okay.
I think, people say, oh, that's too close. Why can't I read it from across the room? Okay, well, I want you to picture my pantry. There's a pull-out drawer that has about 20 cans of stuff, okay?
Right.
And if I had my WayAround app on and I walked close to that and it could read from a distance, it would start shouting, green beans, peaches, pineapple, kidney beans. Not helpful.
No, that is not.
If I have my hand on a can and I tap the top of my phone to that can and it says green beans, nope, I want peaches. Next can, peaches. That's the one I want.
So Moses actually had because one of the things that drives me nuts, like, is in public places trying to find the women's bathroom or the men's bathroom, is you have to touch everything, right? Is it something that maybe could be put on, like, even a restroom sign?
Yeah. Our public spaces tags are designed for that.
Oh, okay.
Can you just go and put it yourself?
And you would only be the one who could read it because they are private to you when they're the home and office tags.
Right.
But let's say a doctor's building wanted to make their building more accessible. They would pay for a portal subscription so they could put tags on every door and everybody could read them.
And then would you still have to be that, like, 1 inch away? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you would. But if a place wants beacons and other things, then they can add that. Okay.
Okay.
To, direct you. But when you get there, what the public tag says, first of all, you're at the women's restroom. So you don't even have to feel the sign to find the little lady or read the Braille.
Yeah.
Okay. But then it says, as you open the door, turn right. When you encounter a wall, turn left.
Oh, okay.
These sinks are on your left, 4 stalls are on your right. The last stall on the right is the accessible stall.
Okay.
The paper towels are to the left of the sink on the far right end of whatever. I mean, It's all described. We call it relational orientation.
Right.
So you describe it well to me. I don't have to see it. I don't have to touch it. I can just follow. I can use my cane to touch the floor to find all those things. But if I don't know what I'm touching, I have to touch the walls.
Well, I think that's a wonderful place to leave it, but you're going to want to check out next week because Neva is going to be talking more about the app and just some very interesting technology features when it comes to the blind and low vision community. Also, go back and check out her episode on blind level tech with Evan Starnes. You're going to find that in anywhere you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple, anywhere you get your podcast. So check that out, Blind Level Tech, Neva Fairchild. Thank you guys so much for listening to this show. Coming up in September, we're going to be having our hike on September 13th. And you're going to want to go register for that at aftersight.org/hike. You can register there, and we're going to be so excited to see you all up on the mountain. In the words of Penn, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. It's good for your soul.